Today I'm going to be showing y'all how to use Photoshop to make thumbnails, but I'm also going to show you some free websites and some tips and tricks that you can use. I know that everyone has different personal aesthetics. If you've clicked on this video and you're thinking, okay, there's no way that this is going to work for me because her aesthetic is so different from mine, I would encourage you to stick around. The tips and tricks that I'm going to be showing y'all allow for so much creativity. It really doesn't matter what your aesthetic is, you're going to be able to achieve the look that you want with the tips and tricks that I'm going to show you. I will be using this Wacom tablet and pen. The only parts that I really use this on is when I create some type of handwriting in Photoshop. So let's get started. First thing that I do is I open Photoshop, create a new document. Now the dimensions for a YouTube thumbnail are these dimensions right here, 1182 by 665 px, whatever that means. I think that means pixels. The first thing that I'm going to show y'all is a website called Unsplash, and these are free images. When you download the image, if you use it anywhere, they do ask that you give credit to the photographer. There's so many different ones. You can search anything that you want. I'm just going to go in here to textures and patterns and just find a cool one that I think I want to use. I think I'm going to try this one. So what I usually do is I copy the link and I just paste it in my notes just so I can keep up with it. I may find a few, to kind of experiment. However many photos I found, I'll create new documents. Pull up your Finder, and you're going to have your 3 images that you just downloaded. So I'll take one and place them on each different document. After I get a background down, I like to go in first with the image that I'm going to use. Just drag whatever photo into this, and it will paste it in here, rasterize the layer. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I am going to stencil out myself. So you can go in here with a lasso tool. If there was more of a contrast between me and the background, this magic wand tool would be really easy to use. So you just click around and you delete that section of color. But as you can see, my color and the background's color kind of blend a little bit. So this may not work as well. See, this is going to delete my hair. What I'm going to do for this look is, honestly, I'm not going to go for a super perfect outlined look. I'm just going to take my lasso tool and I'm going to draw around all of the edges that I want to keep, and then I will go in and delete the rest. So as you can see, I have myself, my picture that I want cut out here, and you can always go in with the eraser tool and kind of smoothen up these edges. Click this back in. Oh my gosh, look at that, so cute. All right, Command T allows you to select whatever layer you're on. So I want to select myself, Command T. I'm just going to drag myself down to where I'm lined up at the bottom, make it bigger. That's cute. Now, if you want to take this layer that you've done all this hard work on and you want to put it on these other two to see how it looks, you can just duplicate layer. You can choose which document you want it on. So this is Untitled 4 over here, so it's going to put me over here. Do the same thing for the other one. So the next thing that I'm going to show you is how you can get text on here. Photoshop actually comes with text, but it doesn't have the most appealing options. I'm sure you could find some that you would be satisfied with, but I'm going to show you an easy way that you can get more options for fonts. So the best website to do this on is 1001 Free Fonts. This font website I know is safe and it has a lot to choose from. You actually need to close out of Photoshop because you need to close it and reopen it for the fonts to be there. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to save all of these. Now you can go in here to 1001freefonts.com, pick a font. Now the thing that you have to be careful with on this website is you want to make sure that you're not getting into anything that you don't want to get into as far as copyright goes and stuff like that. What you're going to need to do is make sure that over here on the right it says free. So as you can see, like this one says free for personal use. You can't use it for commercial use. But commercial use would be anything that could possibly be used for profit. I would just say stay away from it because a lot of YouTube I feel like is used for profit. So I would just say try to stay free. There's so many to choose from and they have them separated kind of by like the style that they are. So let's say you want to go for a modern look. You can go in here and pick one. Okay, so I actually really like this one. So what I'm going to do, the first thing, download this font. It's going to come down here as a zip file. Once that downloads, you're going to open it. Then it's going to come up as a TIFF file. So you open that, double click to open that. Here it is. You're just going to install the font. So I have found that sometimes it doesn't show up right away right here. If you close it out and install font again, I've found out that it works for me. See, there it is. All right, so now you can close out of that. You can open Photoshop back up. Alright, so now I've got them all back here. Now I can go up here to fonts and I'll be able to find the one that I just downloaded. The one that I just downloaded was called Marlboro. There it is. And start typing away. So Command T allows you to select that section and I'm going to move it over I'm gonna make it smaller and center it. So on this background, this doesn't really show up very well. So I might just go in here and make this a different color. I'm just gonna try white. Okay, that's not bad, but let's say I want it to blend in more with this. And if you use Photoshop, you're gonna know how to do most of this stuff, so I'm just gonna try to make this quick. For the selection tool, I'm gonna select a color that is close to white, but that is also in this picture just to blend this a little bit more seamlessly. Not bad. Okay, so we can kind of just see how we like it. I'm gonna do like I did with the other layer, and I'm just gonna copy it onto the other two. I'm gonna have to say my favorite so far is probably this background. I like the contrasting colors. This can probably go, this background, but I'm gonna keep working. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I kind of want a contrasting font, and I actually really like the handwritten look. So I'm just gonna go in here and I'm gonna make a new layer first of all. Command-Shift-N for a new layer, and I'm gonna title this handwriting. I'm gonna place this layer behind this title, how I make. I'm actually gonna experiment a little bit. I wanna write the word thumbnails in my own handwriting. The next little tip or trick that I want to show y'all is how you can get PNGs and use those for free. So there's a lot of free websites, and I will link them in the description. I actually like to use Canva because they have a lot of really cute ones to choose from. So I'm kind of just gonna make this up. I'm just gonna create a document so that I can get these PNGs. Now I should mention that if you're gonna want to get a PNG from Canva and have a transparent background, which is honestly the best choice so that you don't have to go through and edit anything out, you're gonna have to have a subscription to Canva, which I don't. So you can use these little cute little things from Canva. They have so much to choose from. So let's say I wanted this piece of foliage right here. So I'm gonna take it here, put it on here, and you have the option to change the colors. You can do this to match your color scheme better. Okay, I low-key kind of like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this as a PNG, download it. I'm going to come back over here, I'm going to pull up Finder, there it is. So you just drag and drop it in there. I'm just going to hide all of my other layers so that I can focus on this one. The annoying thing is that it has this white background. You have to go in and get this white background out. Now this is where this magic wand tool really comes in handy because as you can see, these leaves are very differently contrasted from this white. So when I click on the white that I want to get rid of, it pretty much selects all but the leaves, which makes it really easy on. So that looks good. So then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to delete all of the white. Okay, so now you have whatever it was that you just downloaded. It's that easy. I'm going to actually duplicate this so that I can put another one in the other corner. I'm actually going to flip this horizontally so that it's the same and put it there. Okay, so if you don't want to have to deal with this white background, one of my favorite other resources is cleanpng.com. All you have to do is search for what you want. So you can actually go in here and make sure that you click the right download. Don't click any of this stuff around here. Like, just don't do it. I don't know what this stuff is. Just don't. You just do this free download. So it puts it down here. It's downloading. Go back to Photoshop, pull up your Finder, and it's going to be right there. So then you just drag it over. And just the puppy! And you don't have any of the white background to deal with or anything. Like, how awesome is that? Look at that. There you go. There you have it. He's a different layer. Don't forget to rasterize him. Those are my tips and tricks as far as outside resources go. Now, as I'm actually going to delete him because I'm not actually using him. Now we're going to dive deeper into Photoshop and how I actually make these thumbnails once I have everything on here. I'm just going to say I'm not completely satisfied with this look. So I'm actually going to hide this and I'm going to make another one. Command-Shift-N for a new layer, new handwriting. Okay, I'm going to change my brush to kind of more of like fluffy one. So I'm going to bring everything else back up to the foreground. So now I'm going to scoot this up, scoot, scoot. I'm going to make this a little smaller. Command-T to select it, Shift, bring it down. Okay, bring it up here, center it, like this. I'm going to move this to the top so it's my top layer, so it's on top of my foliage. Shift, bring it down a little bit, bring it up here. So as you can see, it's kind of blending into the background right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select my background layer and I'm actually going to try to bring down the brightness and exposure a little bit to see if that helps. So you go to Image Adjustments. All right, let's see brightness and contrast. Let's see how this does. Okay, yeah, so if I bring my brightness down a little bit and my contrast up a little bit, that helps a lot actually. Create a new layer. I like to put little strokes of color behind my words. It just kind of helps to bring them to the foreground a little bit. I do like to do kind of this chalky look. The thing I've learned about Photoshop is you honestly just have to play around. Okay, I like this. Great. Okay, I think I'm actually going to change the color here to a bit of a darker color. G allows you to do this paint bucket tool, and I'm just gonna... Okay, I like this, I like this, I like this. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some more words here to let my viewers know what I'm pointing at. Now, as you can see, this is kind of blending in with my background a little bit. I want to make it easier to see. I might kind of take this same style here on this same layer. I'm going to go in and I'm going to see if I like it. So I'm digging this, but I think this brown is too brown. So I'm going to go in here and you can literally change anything at any time. If you select this brown, as you can see, it'll be on the top of the circle. And then you can go in here and you can select a different color and you can see the contrast. So now that other brown is at the bottom of the circle, so you can see the difference. So if I have this brown and I don't like that color, I'm going to try to get the top of that circle to be a color that I know I'm going to like. So I want it to be like a lighter brown. Oh, okay, let's try that. Okay, so I like this a lot better. I'm going to actually delete the foliage because it's just not doing it for me. I kind of want it to spread out to this corner a little bit more. I might just move these little sections up. I have this blue cloudy that's merged with this one. I'm going to hide all the other layers so that you can see this. As you can see, these are on the same layer. So if I want to select the blue parts and separate them from this pink, I'm going to use my lasso tool. I'm going to select the pink layer and I am simply going to right click, layer via cut. So that's going to create a completely new layer. So now these blue marks and this pink mark are different. If I want to move this blue here and this blue here, I'm going to have to separate them. So let's do that. Alright, so now I can Command T and I can move that up. So sometimes if I have something that I'm so close to satisfied with but I'm just not quite there, what I like to do is just kind of put some scribble scrabble around the edges if I don't want to use a PNG or anything to fill this space. I am just going to create a new layer, Command Shift new layer, scribbles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select a color from color scheme. I might select like one of these really light colors. I'm going to use a chunky charcoal brush, but I'm going to decrease the opacity because I want this to be barely noticeable. And I'm going to put this behind everything except for the background. I'm just going to scribble. So as you can see, that kind of fills the space a little bit, which I like. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to add some little accents. A lot of times I like to use a really bright color for this, and this is kind of just to accentuate things, and I usually use a normal hard round brush for this. Stuff like that. Little stars, you can really be creative and do whatever you want. Another thing that I sometimes like to do is outline the images that I have, so I might go around because it's just going to make this image stand out a little bit more. There you have it. This is how I make my thumbnails usually. With everything that I've showed you, there's literally ample room for creativity. There's unlimited possibilities. I am by no means a professional. I have only been using Photoshop for about 6 months. So if you're watching this and you've used Photoshop before, or you know any tips and tricks that I didn't mention, please place them in the comments below. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope that this was a useful resource for you.